The latest Superman 2025 trailer has unveiled even more information about the film that will kickstart the DCU. First things first, it's been a while since Warner announced the cast for Superman for the first time. Sure, many fans were on the fence about it since the DCEU barely gave Henry Cavill a chance, but it didn't take long until everyone was absolutely on board. Now the trailer has confirmed that the cast for this film is top-notch. Since Superman is such an iconic character, whoever gets to play this role has a chance to completely make their mark in the world. Think about Christopher Reeve and how beloved he is even 40 years later. David Corenswet is definitely taking this chance seriously. He looks the part, sure, but it goes beyond that. Portraying Kal-El involves playing two different roles. Clark Kent and Superman don't act the same, and often the mark of a good Superman is the subtlety of this difference. The trailer allows Corenswet to flex this change from the first scene. When he's talking to Lois as Clark, he uses a soft, even naive voice. But the moment he switches to Superman to say, "Miss Lane," he uses a grave, solemn tone. It's a very important shift that tells us Corenswet definitely understood the assignment. With the movie following the contrast between his two personas, it's obvious even now that the script has given him plenty to work with. Then we have Rachel Brosnahan, who will play Lois Lane. The trailer showcases that before Clark's girlfriend or a Superman apologist, Lois is a heavy-hitting journalist. She understands Superman can't be above the law, even if that means getting into a polemic discussion with her boyfriend. Brosnahan definitely brings this energy into her portrayal. Thanks to her role in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, we know she will have incredible comedic timing in the role. But to see her also bring Lois's sharpness, assertiveness, and even her passion in the trailer has us excited for what's coming. Finally, Nicholas Hoult's Lex Luthor is the antagonistic force for this trailer, and likely the biggest one in the whole film. Hoult has proved time and time again that he can portray a narcissistic, spoiled kid easily. From Tony Stonem's manipulative character to childish tyrant Emperor Peter III, it feels as if his whole filmography was curated for him to become Lex. The trailer features many great moments with Lex, but two that truly showcase Hoult's acting skills are when Lex smiles pettily as they arrest Superman, and when he's yelling with desperation right in the middle of what looks like a tantrum. These three actors will obviously be joined by many other great celebrities, but it's safe to say Clark, Lois, and Lex will be the main trio of the film. So it's great to know that they will be portrayed by such amazing actors. While the trailer has only given us a small taste of what each of them will bring to the table, these moments are already enough to show that the DCU is committed to providing fully fleshed out versions of Superman, Lois, and Lex that honor their comics past while placing a fresh spin on the characters for their DCU future. While Superman 2025 will kick off the new DCU, the franchise will still be heavily influenced by the character's comics roots. James Gunn himself already confirmed that All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely will be the main inspiration for Superman. In this comic, Lex Luthor tricks Superman into flying into the sun so his cells are overwhelmed with solar radiation. This makes him incredibly powerful, but it also kills him eventually. With only 1 year left to live, Clark makes the best of it. He reveals his identity to Lois, completes his will, and then performs the 12 Labors of Superman, a series of incredible feats, including curing cancer and leaving a formula for scientists to create a new Superman, according to Morrison. Then he's gone to the sun, where he basically becomes its heart, as he's now a solar being. Now, this doesn't mean Superman will die in the movie. Gunn commented that the movie won't follow the same story as All-Star Superman, but it definitely draws inspiration from its tone, its themes, and its aesthetic, which is amazing news. The trailer shows this. For starters, it seems that the movie will have an overall optimistic tone. Sure, it's a superhero film, but Superman is not just any superhero. Superman 2025 is clearly going to be a hopeful story based on the color scheme and the music from the trailer. The trailer score in particular is epic, sweeping, and uplifting, showcasing the best that Superman has to offer. It's almost a spiritual alignment with Morrison's comic. Now, although Superman will not die in the movie, or so we think, the trailer hints at one of the most important topics in All-Star Superman, the sheer contrast between Kal-El's humanity and Superman's mythic persona. The balance between both is subtle, but Superman has to make it work on top of everything else he does. Another important inspiration for Superman 2025 is Superman for All Seasons by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. This comic explores Superman's backstory and some of his most important moments through the eyes of others, more specifically Jonathan Kent, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, and Lana Lang. This makes it a highly emotional comic, especially the section narrated by Pa Kent. In fact, there's a scene with Superman and his dad on the trailer that comes directly from a 2-page spread on Superman for All Seasons. With the trailer's focus on how Superman is perceived by the world, the specific human glimpses of the Man of Steel in Superman for All Seasons ultimately can support showing who Kal-El is, both as Superman and as Clark Kent. Surely these aren't the only comics the movie will use as inspiration, but so far they're the ones the trailer had us remembering. Clark and Lois's relationship is one of the most important elements in any Superman film. This time won't be the exception. However, the trailer has revealed that their romance may not blossom during the film. Nowhere in the trailer does it seem as if Clark and Lois are still getting to know each other, or they're less than a couple. Instead, all their scenes show a certain romantic familiarity between them. And this is more than the obvious chemistry between Corenswet and Brosnahan. In the first scene of the trailer, Lois and Clark can be seen having a night together at home. They're obviously just chilling. The lights in the living room give a cozy vibe, and they're having an intimate conversation when Clark agrees to have an interview with her as Superman. Their conversation even has a playful tone, with Clark calling Lois Cronkite, a reference to the famous American journalist Walter Cronkite. Then things get a bit tense. During the interview, Lois tells Superman he has been under a lot of fire for his recent actions, and the Man of Steel defends himself. Soon, Kal-El grows mad, justifying what he has done. This moment doesn't feel like the conversation between a journalist and their guest anymore, but it feels a lot like a fight between a couple. The scene also highlights both Superman and Lois Lane as separate people, each with their own opinions and viewpoints, rather than just extensions of each other. They may not always be on the same page, but they still respect each other and their viewpoints even when they disagree. There are also a couple of romantic moments in the trailer, of course, like the iconic kiss while floating. And yes, we hope the movie includes many others. However, it's cool to know that the DCU won't include the same old storyline about Clark confessing his identity to Lois. It has been told way too many times, so there's no need for it. Instead, the movie likely made the space for their relationship to grow to a more mature level, not just the honeymoon phase. This detail also leaves us with a question. For how long has Superman been a thing in this universe? If Lois already knows his identity, this means they have been together for a decent amount of time. Does this mean Superman has been a hero for a long time too? Or has he just embraced his powers? Since the movie won't be the typical origin story, there's a lot that could happen, and we can't wait for the movie to answer all these questions. Since Superman is one of the most powerful beings ever, governments all over the world are always on the fence about him. The DCU will also explore this. The trailer is only 3 minutes long, but it features many different potential villains in Superman. The government of the United States is definitely one of them, believe it or not. This conflict is a tale as old as time for superheroes. The military hates them because they can't weaponize them, and the government fears them because it can't control them. Not only are there several scenes where Superman deals with the military, but Lois comments that the Secretary of Defense is looking into some of Superman's actions. Clark defends himself, stating that he stopped a war. Lois tries to reason with him, discussing his role as a U.S. representative. She knows politics. However, Clark soon refuses the title. Things are simpler for the Man of Steel. People were getting hurt, so he used his abilities to save them. Is that so hard to understand? So, yes, Superman was saving lives, but this doesn't matter to the authorities. Politics is way more complex than having a strong moral compass. Perhaps Superman will have to learn this in the worst way possible. In fact, the Man of Steel will end up being arrested, according to one of the scenes in the trailer in which Ultraman and the Engineer are taking him into custody. Is this the reason why the public opinion on him changes so much, or will it inspire others to follow him instead? Although he's a Boy Scout archetype, Superman has become a symbol of resistance many times. This could happen yet again in the DCU. It's interesting to see that the Engineer and Ultraman work for the government, though. These two villains will surely make things complicated for Superman, but how? There's still a lot of mystery surrounding Ultraman. You probably noticed he barely makes it into the trailer, which has us thinking he will be central for the film. In comics, Ultraman is a villainous version of Superman whose main weakness is the yellow sun, while kryptonite empowers him. There have been several versions of Ultraman, all of them coming from alternate realities. Since nothing has been said about a DCU multiverse, it's too soon to know if this will be the case. So far, all we know is nothing. Ultraman, or at least someone similar, has been seen around in the trailer, but nothing has been said about actors, storylines, or anything. This mystery is one of the many reasons we're eager to see the film. He could be a clone created by the government, an actual multiversal villain, or even a red herring. What do you think? Now, the Engineer definitely got more scenes on the trailer than Ultraman, but who is she? Angela Spica, aka the Engineer, is a superhero whose body has been altered thanks to an injection of nanites into her bloodstream. These turned her body into a malleable, fluid-like metal that can transform into anything. Spica is a member of the Authority, a morally ambiguous super team that, according to Gunn, will make it to the DCU in the future. Hopefully, the Engineer's appearance in Superman will clue us into this. The Engineer can be seen on the trailer as part of the party that arrests Superman. Additionally, the Engineer has a couple of action-packed scenes against various Kryptonian robots at the Fortress of Solitude. But what is she doing at Superman's super-secret lair? That brings us to who we think will be the true villain in the movie, Lex Luthor. Lex is Superman's antithesis, always has been. Whether it is that he feels betrayed by Clark's lies, or simply that he's a man with too much power and a very fragile ego, he has been trying to make the Man of Steel's life miserable for decades now. Now the trailer tells us a bit about his role in the film, and of course, he's a big antagonistic force. The most important Lex scene in this teaser takes place around the 1.5 minutes mark. A cocky Lex can be seen entering the Fortress of Solitude alongside the Engineer. The villainess takes down Superman robots and fights Krypto too, while Lex simply steps into the place as if he owns it. This is very on brand for the billionaire. Later, as he scouts the place, Lex reveals his opinion on Superman. He's not a man, he's an it that somehow became the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that. This line speaks volumes about Lex Luthor. He's jealous of the attention, of the power that Superman wields. He also is trying to paint Superman as the other rather than a full member of society, dehumanizing Superman further by referring to him as an it, an object, rather than as a person. Based on the trailer, it's safe to say that Superman will experience a fallout with the general public. This may be Lex's fault. If the villain is so upset about the whole world loving Superman, he could try and bring down his reputation like he did during Superman Birthright. Lex entering Superman's fortress also leads us to believe that he will steal some of his Kryptonian technology. There's a second in the trailer, a very blink and you miss it scene with a Kryptonian ship. This could be Lex's doing. Did you see that scene in which Eve Tessmacher takes a selfie with Superman fighting someone behind her? Some fans theorize that this fight was staged, and Eve is helping Lex make it viral so it ruins Superman's reputation. If this theory is true, it could show Lex as even more manipulative, knowing how to utilize all of his possible resources, including social media, to fully enact his plan against Superman. At this point, any theory it's a long shot, but Lex has done this kind of stuff before, so it wouldn't be strange, really. Some also think he's the mastermind behind the kaiju that Kal-El fights in the movie. Fortunately for Superman, he isn't completely alone. Besides his many non-powered allies like Lois and Jimmy, he actually gets to interact with other superheroes. Superman will feature Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. These three characters are the DCU's first super team in the movies The Justice Gang. However, they don't work independently like the Justice League does. Instead, they work for Maxwell Lord. In fact, their uniforms have the Lord Tech logo. This is honestly disappointing if we assume the Justice Gang will be around for a while, since the fact that they're corporate superheroes likely means they may not act as heroes out of good intentions, but who knows? Perhaps their role is far more nuanced, with the sponsorship allowing them to act with corporate or government approval. Even if they are acting out of corporate greed rather than altruism, they may become more truly heroic by the end of the film. It's a strange thing to have so many heroes in a Superman film. Some fans worry this will reduce Kal-El's screen time. We don't think so. These other superpowered beings are obviously here for a reason. First, the inclusion of other heroes shows that this is a world where superheroes are already firmly established into society, whether corporate-sponsored or working on their own, like Superman. The question is, which category do most superheroes fall under in new DCU? Maybe the DCU features a universe where superheroes are mainly a corporate thing, sponsored by various companies just like the Justice Gang and their Lord Tech sponsorship. This would explain the people's negative reaction when Superman goes rogue. Or maybe Gunn will introduce alternate realities already, so these characters won't appear again. The only thing we know for sure is that if there's a conflict between society and superpowered beings, Superman will end up in the crossfire. Earlier teasers for the film already revealed that Superman's dog, Krypto, will play an important role in the film. While Krypto was already shown rescuing Superman in Antarctica in earlier teasers, he will be more than just a support class hero. The latest trailer shows that Krypto is truly Clark Kent's best superpowered ally. When Lex and the Engineer invade the Fortress of Solitude, Krypto is right there ready to defend the base, and he even lands an attack on the Engineer. While Krypto is adorable, this scene proves that he has some bite in addition to his bark and could be a key factor in other fights in the film. However, Krypto's most important role is still that of man's best friend. Clark Kent's bond with his beloved pet shows even more of his human side and the importance of that humanity to Superman's role. Thus, perhaps the most important thing the trailer already showed us about Superman is the incredibly humane nature of this superhero. Contrary to other depictions of the Man of Steel, Corenswet's performance offers a very human Superman. The trailer shows a Superman who is more vulnerable than ever. He loses his temper with Lois as she grills him, he goes to his parents for advice, he walks with his head down after being rejected by the public, and the most important thing, he's helped by a human to stand up again. He's a mighty superhero, but a regular man offers him a hand, and he takes it. This short scene holds a strong symbolism, and we can only hope the whole movie feels the same. Kal-El definitely doesn't want to be a god. He just wants to do good, regardless of politics. Unfortunately, that disregard towards man-made systems can come across as arrogant. Where he sees a simple fix, others may see an attempt to control. He has to navigate that balance just as much as he has to hold on gently to a glass, so it doesn't shatter into pieces. It's an incredibly difficult task, but Superman does it anyway, and we're eager to see him on the big screen again, especially if he's coming while wearing his heart on his sleeve.
Home. Take me home.
What do you want to see in the DCU's Superman film? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.